I mean, we could do with more of them working, but maybe not Andrew, or maybe Andrew. I mean, what do you make of it? Netflix have released a scoop, which is kind of the behind-the-scenes footage of the things that we may not have seen for that Emily Maitlis interview where he felt he did well, but it was a complete PR disaster for him. What are your thoughts on the whole scoop thing? Do you think it's a bit overkill on him? Look, he's not been found guilty of anything, has he? So,
well, my take on it is, and I watched the whole thing last night, was, why was this drama, Nana, at an exorbitant cost even made while the real interview still exists? Why should Prince Andrew or any living person be made subject to a fictional account of their life with invented dialogue and innuendo? This is nothing but an attempt to re-vilify, many years on, the prince again. In fact, when he was just beginning to win some thawing in attitudes against him, the height of hypocrisy, because of Hollywood bias, Nana, Prince Andrew is once again being singled out, while other names such as, I don't know, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, are given free passes because they are the darlings of the woke.
The more I think about it, a lot of this is obviously through Netflix. And, we've got The Crown and all that kind of thing, which, again, I totally agree with you. You can't make dramatisations about people who actually are alive and then make up stories about their life. I mean, look, when they're not here, then fair enough, nobody can argue with the account of what you're doing. But I find it just... I can't watch The Crown because I think it's a disgrace, frankly. But it's Netflix behind it again, isn't it? I mean, Netflix and the Sussexes documentaries, Netflix now behind The Crown, Netflix now behind this. I think that we need to be having a word with Netflix.
No, I fully agree. And as far as from this side of the Atlantic, Nana, many Americans lack the context to understand and will simply take on board the anti-royal biases of the drama with no appreciation of the fact that Prince Andrew hasn't been convicted of anything by the courts, but rather has been a victim of inadequate support and the lack of awareness of the media environment, and social media that lack deference.
Yeah, and I would think that apparently for Scoop, Andrew comes across as not sort of idiotic or silly, but just as a product of his environment, which is why he's the way he is. Do you think that, even though he's still here and you shouldn't be, I don't think you should be doing what they're doing, do you think there's a fair portrayal of him?
Well, what I think is that Prince Andrew's interview should never have happened. His advisors did him a great disservice in either not preventing the interview entirely or in failing at least to ensure that he was properly equipped to face the challenges of modern media scrutiny. But, over here on this side of the Atlantic, the U.S. public seems less engaged with the details of the scandal compared to in the U.K., and that's not surprising. The U.S. Newsweek concluded last year that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are much more disliked than Prince Andrew in America.
Yeah. So do you think that Andrew could potentially return and do some sort of royal role?
Well, as far as a royal role, I think I think just his presence shows that, the king loves his brother and has an appreciation for family. But I think for now, probably not an official, not with official working royal duty. So, we have to point out that Prince Andrew, too, is a counselor of state.
Well, interesting. We shall see, because, I don't know whether they haven't got enough people, not enough hands on deck. And I don't know, he hasn't been convicted of anything. He's, I know it's an awful situation. Nobody's, the whole sort of association is questionable, but still, who knows? Lee Cohen, always a pleasure. That was Lee Cohen giving us the US perspective on all things royal. Thank you so much, Lee. Really good to talk to you again.
A pleasure.